Hello, friends, and welcome to Adventures in Pixie Land. My name's Amy. I'm an ordained minister. We're in Bible study. We're in the NIV, and we will be until the end of 2025. Next year, we'll be in the KJV. You can start to see daily the comparisons between the two. If in the event that you don't get to see them as shorts because one of them might be too long, go check the daily energy reading because that's the first slide. Well, after the introduction. That's the first slide that has any, meat to it. In this video, we are in Exodus, and we are doing chapter 30, and we're doing all of chapter 30, which is verses 1 through 38. So let's jump in. The altar of incense. Make an altar of acacia wood for burning incense. It is to be square, a cubit long and a cubit wide, and 2 cubits high. It's got a C note on that, of course. That is about 1.5 feet or 0.5 meters long and wide, and about 3 feet or 0.9 meters high. So the little table, because 1 foot high is not very high, or even 1.5 feet is not very high. It's like a table for your kid. Like your toddler height, if you will. Its horns of one, Make it is to be square, a cubit long and wide, and 2 cubits high. Its horns of one piece with it. So you have to carve horns out of the acacia wood too. Overlay the top and the sides and the horns with pure gold, and make a gold molding around it. Make 2 gold rings for the altar below the molding, 2 on opposite sides to hold the poles to carry it. Because, you're coating everything in gold, it's starting to get heavy. Make the poles of acacia wood and overlay them with gold. Put the altar in front of the curtain, that is before the ark of the testimony, before the atonement cover that is over the testimony, where I will meet you. Okay. So you have to, in front of the curtain. So the Ark of the Covenant is still behind the curtain, and this altar for incense is on, our side, because anybody who's not, Aaron or his sons are not supposed to be on that side of that curtain. Unless they're Moses, I would have to imagine. It has the right to. Aaron must burn fragrant incense on the altar every morning when he tends to the lamps. Valid. That still goes on over here, because I got a candle I light for myself in prayer, and there's indeed incense that goes along with that process. He must burn incense again when he lights the lamps at twilight, so incense will burn regularly before the Lord for the generations to come. Okay, do not offer on this altar any other incense or burnt offering or grain offering, and do not pour a drink offering on it. So just incense. I'll make that very clear. Once a year, Aaron shall make atonement on its horns. This annual atonement must be made with blood of the atoning sin offering for the generations to come. It is most holy to the Lord. So he's going to have to, touch the horns with blood the way he does with the Ark of the Covenant, like around that time. Atonement money. When the Lord said to Moses, when you take a census of the Israelites to count them, each one must pay the Lord a ransom for his life at the time he is counted. Then no plague will come on them when you number them. Each one who crosses over to those already counted is to give half a shekel. That is about 1/5 of an ounce, or about 6 grams, according to the sanctuary shekel. Each weighs 20 gerahs, which is just a unit of weight. This half shekel is an offering to the Lord. All who cross over those 20 years older or more are to give an offering to the Lord. The rich are not to give more than half a shekel, and the poor are not to give less when you make the offering to the Lord to atone for your lives. So it's the same price, doesn't matter how much money you make. Receive the atonement money from the Israelites and use it for the service of the tent of meeting, to maintain your church. Yeah, it will be a memorial for the Israelites before the Lord, make an atonement for your life. So it's like tithing, but tithing is not a payment for sin. Tithing is for the upkeep of the church or the minister or, whatever the rest of that is. Because they're humans and they have lives and they have to pay for all those things too. Basin for washing. Then the Lord said to Moses, make a bronze basin with its bronze stands for washing. Place it in the tent of meeting and the altar and put water in it. Aaron and his sons are to wash their hands and feet with the water from it. Whenever they enter the tent of meeting, they shall wash with water so they will not die. So, okay, that's pretty good, strong incentives. Also, when they approach the altar to minister by presenting an offering made to the Lord by fire, they shall wash their hands and feet so they will not die. This is to be a lasting ordinance for Aaron and his descendants for the generations to come. Yes, that's very valid. I never, even to this day, because I'm a minister, so I make myself the Eucharist every morning. I do not ever make the Eucharist in the morning without first having gone and showered. It's just, the whole idea of it just even feels wrong. And I suppose that comes from the fact that I am descendant of these people. I'm a descendant of Eleazar, I believe, Phineas, if I'm not mistaken. Anointing oil. Verse 22. Then the Lord said to Moses, take the following fine spices, 500 shekels. Okay, so that is about 12.5 pounds or 6 kilograms of fragrant cinnamon, 250 shekels of fragrant cane. I'm not sure what they mean by fragrant cane. To me, fragrant cane, that would be sugar, right? But it could be anything to them. 500 shekels of cassia, all according to the sanctuary shekel, and hin of olive oil. So again, with hin, Hin, and that is the same as it was in the earlier note of being like a quart, 2 quarts, about 2 quarts. Yeah. Okay, so cane, in this case, and apparently a lot of people do take a look at it and think it's sugar cane like me, but it's not. It's called sweet calamus, and it does grow in a reedy area, so it'd be something readily available. And cassia is, it actually comes from a flower, but it drips sort of like the seed pod. That's not unlike, when it's dried out, it's not unlike cinnamon. So it's just a combination of compatible, smelling spices that actually for us would probably smell pretty good. We would think of it as sort of a fall blend, if you would. Now, all mixed in together with olive oil. So it would smell good. Make these into a sacred anointing oil, a fragrant blend, the work of a perfumer. It will be the sacred anointing oil. Then use it to anoint the tent of meeting, the ark of the testimony, the table and its articles, the lampstand and accessories, the altar and the altar of incense, the altar of burnt offering and all of its utensils, and the basin with its stand. You shall consecrate them so they will be most holy, and whatever touches them will be holy. Yep, this is, not everybody will necessarily, in every different type of religion, use these different types of blends, but I'm just going to say this is what I consider typical. If I were going to use something in service and worship like I do indeed have, I have a particular, it's actually more of a bowl than a cup, and then a tray, that are made of silver that I use when doing the doing the Eucharist for myself, and then I have a brass censer that's been in my family, and that's like a type of incense burner. It's been in my family for at least one generation, well, more than one generation, two now, no, three. I'm the third generation. It was my grandfather, so the third generation, and it was used because the function in that is it was used as part of his, because he was raised Catholic, as his worship. I don't know about daily, but there's no point in having them if you're just not going to use them for those purposes. So they're sanctified. They all had to be sanctified in order to be used because of what's touching them. It's all typical for any church, and this would be why it's our example. Verse 30 here. Anoint Aaron and his sons and consecrate them so they may serve me as priests. Say to the Israelites, this is to be my sacred anointing oil for generations to come. Do not pour it on men's bodies, and do not make any oil with the same formula. It is sacred. You are to consider it sacred. Whoever makes perfume like it, and whoever puts it on anyone other than a priest will be cut off from his people. I do make my own anointing oils, but you will not find this available on there for that reason. I don't need that. I don't need that at all. So there's that. I do indeed also anoint myself with oils. It's just that not everything is available to everybody else. Incense. Then the Lord said to Moses, take fragrant spices, gum, resin. That's an interesting. Hold on. Onycha and galbanum and pure frankincense. Now, all onycha is a mollusk shell, and galbanum is a type of flower. All in equal amounts, and make a fragrant blend of incense, the work of a perfumer. It is to be salted and pure and sacred. Grind some of it to powder and place it in front of the testimony in the tent of meeting, where I will meet with you. It shall be most holy to you. Do not make any incense with this formula for yourselves. Consider it holy to the Lord. Whoever makes any of it, that makes any like it, to enjoy its fragrance, must be cut off from his people. So it can only be used in this particular sanctification process, this incense for it. And again, I have a censer with its stuff, and indeed, I do make my own mix of temple blend, and that is the only thing it gets used for, because everything that I use for it it has no other purpose. It needs to be sacred for that purpose, because it is used during the time in which I am making the Eucharist. So again, this template is still there, and it's functioning fine, at least in this household. Until the next video, friends.